Since its debut in August of 1997, well over 300 episodes of South Park have aired. One, however, stands the test of time better than them all. This episode was relevant in 2004, and it's even more relevant 20 years later. I'm talking about the episode Douche and Turd.
He is a turd sandwich.
You're a turd sandwich.
For those who haven't seen this episode in a while, let me catch you up to speed. South Park Elementary is forced to choose a new school mascot because PETA thinks having a cow mascot is insensitive because, well, they're f***ing PETA. The kids at school are given the option to vote for a new mascot. Kyle comes up with an idea to have all the kids write in Giant Douche. But, of course, Cartman is a contrarian and wants everyone to write in Turd Sandwich. These will be the top two winning mascot ideas, and all the kids at school will have to vote between them.
Y'all ready for this?
Nobody really has an issue with this except for Stan Marsh, who really doesn't see the point in voting if it's deciding between a giant douche and a turd sandwich. Sound familiar?
You guys don't vote, and it's like, well, what are your choices? You know, you're gonna go pick between a douche and a turd sandwich, and we were just like, oh, there's a show.
This upsets Stan's parents, who instantly start arguing over which is better, even though they both agree neither is really good.
Well, hold on, Randy. I think a turd sandwich is a little better than them having a giant douche on their uniforms.
Sound familiar? And then, Jesus Christ, as if this episode couldn't get any more relevant, P. Diddy rings the doorbell to teach Stan about the importance of voting. This was a real thing that happened, by the way. P. Diddy and a few other rap and R&B artists started a campaign to try and get the youth to vote, and MTV was pushing it pretty hard. Yeah, the early 2000s were a little bit cringe.
Bitch, oh, I fucking kill you.
Anyways, Stan is pretty much forced to vote, and Kyle, who has been nagging at him throughout this episode, is pretty pumped up about it. Stan writes in, Turd Sandwich. This enrages Kyle.
Dude, you're supposed to vote for Giant Douche. I thought I was supposed to make my own decision. Well, yeah, but not if your decision is for Turd Sandwich.
Stan finds out Kyle didn't care about him voting at all. He just wanted Stan to vote because he thought Stan would vote for his guy. Sound okay? I really need to stop saying that, but come on. I can't be the only one who has experienced literally everything that Stan has in this episode so far. Stan changes his mind about voting once he realizes people only care about his vote if it's in support of them. So, in dramatic South Park fashion, Stan gets banished from the town altogether for refusing to vote.
We got to kill this non-voting fool.
No, Chastasius, let him go.
I don't know why they gave Diddy that accent, but that shit had me rolling the first time I saw it. Stan ends up at a PETA encampment where he finds that the members there have grown intimate with the animals, which is pretty hilarious, honestly.
Kill me.
Alright, so now for one of my favorite scenes in all of South Park. This is not an exaggeration. The giant douche and the turd sandwich are to have a debate.
Hope that those students and their parents who question my qualities would simply look at my opponent. He is a turd sandwich.
You're a turd sandwich.
You know, in 2004, when this episode aired, politicians actually seemed a bit more professional and put together, whereas today, this is quite literally how most of them debate. This scene right here has aged pretty much perfectly.
How should South Park Elementary enforce its laws of conduct for young athletes during sporting events?
My opponent wouldn't even know the answer to that question.
Well, I took 2 tests, cognitive tests. I aced them, both of them, as you know. We made it public. He took none. I'd like to see him take one, just one.
For molesting a woman in public, for doing a whole range of things.
So let's just be real for a minute. No matter what your political beliefs are, this shit is hard to watch from both sides. It's just hilarious how accurate the debate scene was in South Park. I obviously can't show the whole scene because of copyright, but you get the idea. It just blows my mind how accurate this is to our debates of the last 8 years. You know? Anyways, we get to the voice of reason, which weirdly enough comes from the bestiality enjoying PETA member. I don't know why they did that.
But Stan, don't you know? It's always between a giant douche and a turd sandwich.
Nearly every election since the beginning of time has been between some douche and some turd.
This comment resonates with Stan and gives him a new mindset on voting. And he goes and votes for Turd Sandwich. But first, all the PETA members are murdered by Diddy because South Park. So Stan goes back and votes for his guy, Turd Sandwich. But Giant Douche wins, 1,400 votes to 36, which obviously demoralizes Stan into thinking that his vote doesn't matter, which is another relatable thing that a lot of us feel if we're voting for someone who ends up losing an election. Randy assures him that his vote still matters, and then moments later,
They just found all the PETA members murdered at their compound!
That we could go back to being the South Park cows.
All right! Now your vote didn't matter.
I just really like the overall message in this episode. It's okay to abstain from voting when you don't feel either candidate is appealing. You know, living in America, a lot of people will tell you that it's horrible not to vote, you need to vote because it's your right to vote, but usually these people just have an agenda. Literally, Kyle in this episode represents these types of people. Imagine how demoralizing it is to say you won't vote and be called out for it, and then you do end up voting and still get yelled at because you voted for the wrong person. And believe me when I say this is something that both political parties have in common. It's not reserved to just one. I also like that at the time it was one of the most overtly political episodes, yet neither candidate preference is given. No overarching political statement is made. They basically took the political debate of that time and instead of throwing their 2 cents in, made it about the group of people who often don't feel excited about either option. Despite what you see online, the average person isn't obnoxiously political, so don't let others influence you. If you want to vote, go ahead and vote. It's your right as an American to do whatever you want when it comes to voting. Not everyone will agree on this message, but you can't deny how well this episode is aged. And at the same time, it's pretty damn funny. I have other content on my channel that focuses more on historical parts of South Park, with less opinions, but I wanted to give my thoughts on why I think this is the best aged episode of South Park. Thank you for watching.